Hello everyone, I am Dr. Ankush Khanna. I am a pediatrician and neonatologist based in Amritsar, and I gave my IELTS exam for moving to Oxford University, UK, and it was a computer-based exam, and I scored 8.5 bands in total, and I scored 9 bands in listening and reading, and 8 bands in speaking, and 7 bands in writing. So I took the IELTS exam because it was globally acceptable. Secondly, IELTS has a lot of good computer-based centers now, so it was very easy to reach over here and convenient also for me. Thirdly, I'll also have to say that I took this exam because it's mandatory for entry into most of the countries if you want to go there for residency or for academics. The experience was excellent. The exam center coordinators were very helpful, and I was totally satisfied with the entire experience. And the best thing about the exam was that the result came in just 3 to 5 days, so that you can go about with your proceedings and further course. So I like to share a few tips and tricks which I think you possibly won't find on internet, and which personally helped me a bit more in my exam. So for the beginners, ones who possibly have done their schooling in a non-English medium school, they may have to put in a bit more hard work, and still it's not very tough exam. You just have to put in a bit more months and you will be definitely able to crack it, and it would help you in your life also, because it enhances your English skills. And trust me, it's not a tough exam, and even if you're not from an English medium school, you can definitely crack it. It's just that you have to put in a few more time, a few more months, and a bit more hard work. Secondly, I'll like to go about a few tips and tricks about each section, which may help all of us, and including the ones who are just needing one extra band. Maybe that would be very helpful. For example, in listening, what I used to do was that whenever I was given time to review the questions, or whenever in the test time I found that I have half a minute extra, so I used to go through 21 to 30 number questions first, because these are very extensive questions. They have a lot of part to read. So if you know beforehand, before the script starts in the listening, that what questions would be asked in 21 to 30 number questions, these are most difficult questions according to me. So if you have beforehand an idea about what would be asked, you will be definitely able to score better in the listening exam. The remaining questions can be answered simultaneously according to me. Even the last part of the listening test, 31 to 40, is very easy. You can easily answer it. But most people lose the marks from 21 to 30 number questions. So that's for my first tip. Whenever you get even half a minute in listening test, please do go through these questions. And once you're going through these tough questions, what I used to do was, because I already had an idea about what the questions were, I just used to close my eyes and listen to what exact the conversation was, because you don't actually need to go through each and every line. If you're concentrating more on the listening, the part to be read in 21 to 30 number questions, then you may actually miss out on what is being said. So you just have to get a gist of what is being said, and then you can better answer those questions. So this is where I think most of the people lose marks in listening. Secondly, about the reading part, it's comparatively an easier part because you have your own time. And then again, these tricks are something which helped me, and some of them may be available on the internet, but that's what helped me personally. So first of all, I didn't used to go through the passage. I just directly switch over to the question part. Once you know what exactly the questions are, then if you're going through, go through all the questions and start from the first question itself. So once you are answering the first question, see where the paragraph is answering that question, and if you go through that paragraph thoroughly, don't go through it again and again, because then you lose on time. And so just a question, and read the entire paragraph containing that question, so that you can answer the subsequent questions also. And also beforehand, you should have an idea which questions would be answered in a sequential order, and some of them are in the random order. So true and false and not given are generally in the sequential order. So if you have an idea that they'll be answered in sequential order in reading, you would possibly save your time in reading, because that's the most important part in reading. According to me, computer-based test is comparatively easier. If you just have a basic computer knowledge, you can easily answer the reading, listening and the other parts much better than you can answer on the writing part, the writing test. So another tip about reading is where most of the people lose is about the not given part. I think it's a very simple thing. The facts are given over there. If the fact is given in favor of a statement, then it's true. If it's against the statement, only then it's false. But if it's just a random statement, neither supporting it nor refuting it, then it's definitely a not given answer. So not given possibly won't be many. Most of them would be false and true. So don't go for the rumors that many of them would be not given. Try to find out the exact answer to the question. So that was my tip about reading. I'll also like to give about a few tips about writing. They may be a bit random again and maybe a bit astray from what you generally hear. So generally what I was told was that don't show your vocabulary, don't use hi-fi words and all those things on writing part. But my personal experience is that if you try to put in a few better vocabulary words, you definitely score better in the test. If you just use simple English, that's good. You'll be able to score 6, 6.5. But if you put a few of the higher vocabulary words, that is definitely going to help you. So what personally helped me was that I used to learn around 20-25 words, which I knew that I could incorporate into the passage, the second part of writing. And then out of those 20 words, possibly 7 or 8 I generally used in the passage, and that helped me score better, definitely. And these are simple words, but the important thing is that these words should be used confidently and in a proper manner. If you try to incorporate higher vocabulary in a wrong grammatical way, then you are going to lose marks. But if you can use the higher vocabulary words in a proper way, definitely you will get a band or 1.5 band extra, and that's what helped me in the writing part. Finally, coming over to speaking part, what I believe is that you should be calm at that time. And the first part of the speaking part, almost all of us know that you'll be asked the basic questions. I think that's where you can start building up your entire speaking part. So initial part you can always prepare, but then again for subsequent parts also, most of them are simple and related to daily life. In the speaking part, I like to recommend don't go for very high vocabulary words. Don't try to go for the very high vocabulary words, because it's in a flow. And so if you try to show off your vocabulary, you may actually lose the part on the grammatical part, and you may lose your flow. So these were my tips and tricks, a bit prolonged tips and tricks, but I guess that's what actually helped me. Finally, one last word, that like any other test, practice is what makes a man perfect here. So I think practice more and more on the mock tests. That is the best thing you can do. The most important tip, better than any other tip, is practice. So the more number of mock tests you do, more number of computer-based tests you do, you're more likely to succeed in your final test. So I took IDP IELTS exam because of a few reasons. The first and the foremost reason is that it's globally accepted and recognized. Secondly, it's very convenient because IDP has a lot of centers all over India and possibly close to your home also. So it was very close to my home, and it was very convenient for me to go and take a test over there. Thirdly, the exam conditions were excellent. The entire exam session went on very peacefully and was very satisfactory. And fourthly, the results were very swift. I got the results in just 5 days, which is I think quicker than any other exam possibly. And so there's a myth going about in the country that IELTS exam is very tough and you need to have a excellent knowledge of the language before you can actually crack it. So that's wrong. According to me, it's just like any other exam in which the more you practice, the better you would be able to score. Of course, incorporating English into your daily routine and watching a few series in English would help. But according to me, the most important thing would be practice more once you are done with the syllabus, you'll definitely crack it. It's not a tough exam at all, and it's just the practice that you need. The more number of mock tests you do seriously, and the